Ocean cruising is gearing up to return to the water, but what is it going to look like when it does? With so much anticipation, tune into this insightful panel discussion to have your questions answered. If you would like to ask Sue and the panel a question, just post it in the live chat box and they will answer as many questions as they can. So enjoy this next session, and it's over to Sue and the panel.
Thank you. Welcome everybody to our cruise discussion. As Andrew said, I'm Sue Bryant, cruise editor of The Times and The Sunday Times, and I'm here with a distinguished panel of cruise gurus to talk about the comeback of cruising, which is looking quite hopeful for this year, despite the green list that was announced yesterday, or not. So I think what we'll do is we'll go around the panel so everybody can introduce themselves and just talk a very little bit about what their cruise line does. So Mike from Majestic Line, should we start with you?
Hi, so I'm Mike from the Majestic Line. I'm the CEO of the company. We run 4 small cruise ships out of the west coast of Scotland, maximum of 12 people per vessel.
Very nice. Thank you. And Frederic, how about you next?
Hi, Sue. My name is Frederic. I'm the general manager for Australis Cruises. We have 2 ship cruises, expedition cruises going Patagonia, from Chile to Argentina, from September to April. And the cruise ships are 450, 200 persons per ship.
Fantastic, thank you. Michele, your turn.
Hi, Sue. Hi, everyone. I'm Michele. I'm the co-founder of Secret Atlas. We run expedition cruising on small ships up to maximum 12 passengers. And currently our ships are in Svalbard, in Greenland, and in Iceland.
Perfect, thank you. And last but not least, Rachel.
Hi there, my name's Rachel. I'm the Business Development Manager with Tradewind Voyages. We are the new kids on the block when it comes to cruise. We have the largest square rig sailing ship in the world, and we start our voyages on the 1st of July. Maximum guests, 270, so we're a small boutique cruise ship built to be sailing, so we're very excited.
Well, all of these brands are incredibly exciting and all really adventurous in their own way. So so why don't we start off just talking a little bit about where we're going to be able to go this summer, and this is assuming a little bit later this summer because we already know we can't go very far at the moment. So Michele, how about you going first? I mean, I know you're polar based or Svalbard based. What do you think the chances are of you being able to operate something this summer?
We're very confident about the summer. We have a original plan to operate the entire season in Svalbard, and of course Svalbard will be probably open by August onwards. Before that, one of our vessels is currently repositioning to Iceland, and we very welcome the government to have added Iceland in the green list. From Iceland, we're gonna be able to start in June to do expedition cruising in the northwest corner of Iceland, and then up to the East Greenland, which is a fantastic Arctic destination.
Gosh, that's so exciting. That's just the best part of the world, isn't it? It's wonderful there. I've been lucky enough to do that, and I thoroughly recommend it, especially the West Fjords in Iceland. That's like a really good bit of Iceland, really remote, isn't it?
Exactly. We started from the West Fjords, yes.
Yeah. And Majestic Line's already, have you just started, Mike? Are you already sailing, or are you just about to?
No, we have all the crew arriving on Monday for our training, and then we start cruising from the 17th, with the first cruise being a private charter for a wedding.
Oh, how lovely, how romantic. A wedding in Scotland at sea. So, that would be amazing. And I mean, the season for Australis doesn't start till that much later in the summer, does it, Frederic? So are you gearing up for September, October restart?
Yes, we are hoping to restart in September, October, and first at the beginning we'll have charter trips with Chilean people, and after we cross the finger that we we are hoping to have a quite normal season operating, because we usually operate from September to April, because we are at the opposite of the world. Then and for us the summer it's very dark. There is not enough light to operate.
Even though we're allowed to go to the South Atlantic now on our green list, aren't we lucky? So Rachel, what about you? We're all going to have a fantastic view, aren't we, of the amazing Golden Horizon sailing along the south coast in just a few weeks.
We are indeed. So we are, as I say, so excited. Our inaugural voyage is the 1st of July. We've got 5 voyages around the British Isles, including a fabulous trip in and out of Greenock in Scotland. We've then got 2 UK voyages that are in and out of Harwich, actually, that are going to explore the fjords and Denmark towards the end of August, all things crossed. And then we embark on what's really going to be a round the world adventure on the 28th of August. So that's when we leave the UK shores and head out across the Med, the Adriatic, and then all the way down to Australia, and then into the Indian Ocean in the early part of next year. And then we've got a really exciting set of voyages for 22-23. But right now, our focus is very much on these UK voyages that are going to be happening this year.
Fantastic. And I think one question that a lot of people ask who've maybe not been able to go on a cruise for the last year, and this is a question to all of you, is just what's it going to be like on board? Is it going to feel different from what people might be used to because of social distancing and all the other protocols? Who would like to answer that one? Rachel?
Okay, yeah. So look, we want our first and foremost, the safety and the welfare of our guests and our crew are of primary importance. We will be following the guidelines set out by the government, set out by CLIA, to make sure we're complying with everything. So on board, we want our guests to have the very, very best experience. So there will be small changes. So things like the buffet, for example, that will still exist. However, it will be a served buffet rather than people helping themselves. We'll be reviewing the situation as regards to wearing masks around the ship and the social distancing. We're very fortunate. We've got beautiful, big, expansive decks. So being out on deck is where we will expect our guests to be, to enjoy the scenery and really be part of sailing the ship. So yes, of course, there will be some changes, but I think we'll all be doing our utmost to ensure that our guests have the very, very best experience once they're on board.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure it'll be amazing. So, Michaela, you've got you're mainly private charters, aren't you? So guests are sailing in their own bubble.
Exactly. We've got mainly for the summer private charter, family reunions, multi-generation trips. So in a sense, it's a safer. And again, we carry only 12 guests. So in a way, it's safer than a big experience. We're trying to, of course, the safety and the health and safety of the passengers and the crew is of paramount importance. We have a little changes on the way we operate. The ship has no hand sanitizers. We look at that aspect as well. But when it comes to the experience, it's not really changed from before. We do a lot of show landings every day. It's an outdoor experience anyway, what we provide. So we don't see our experience being changed from the past.
Okay. And Mike, on Majestic Line, I mean, again, we're talking about very tiny ships, aren't we? So are you able to carry the same number of passengers as you normally would?
We have reduced the number slightly for the first month due to social distancing. However, we're going to follow the guidelines from the Scottish Government and the UK Government where it comes to that. But we've implemented our own protocols and systems for safety on the ship. So we've worked really hard over the last year to make sure that the guests are safe and ultimately still enjoy their holiday.
Okay, well, I'm sure they won't have any problem enjoying it. And what about, I mean, Australis has got, of all the people here, your ships are the biggest, I think. So when you start sailing again, Frederic, will you be sailing with reduced numbers or the same as usual?
We will sail with a little bit of reduced numbers, and like all of us, we are waiting for the sanitary and government from Chile and from Argentina to tell us the last numbers. But in fact, for us, the experience, it's like an expedition cruise. It's a bit different because you disembark close by glaciers, close by penguins. It's not you will not visit cities, and then on board, of course, you will have social distancings and protocols and a lot of alcohol everywhere, not only at the bar, but the experience himself, or the dining room and everything. I mean, the spaces are quite big. Then it's not a big difference from the previous service that we had.
Yes, I love your ships. They're beautiful. I've found them. The cabins were just so big and spacious, with that whole wall of glass, so you can see all the scenery outside. It was just, even if you're not ashore or doing something, I just loved sitting in my cabin gazing out at Patagonia and at the fjords. It was stunning.
And of course, for the conferences, for example, we'll have more conferences with less people on the conferences room. It will like you will have a turn or something like this, but it's not a big problem to be operating ships in the way that a lot of people will be vaccinated, and there is a lot of space to make an unusual trip.
Very good. Oh, it'll be fantastic. So we've talked about this year, about this summer, what's left of it. Let's talk a bit about 2022, because I understand that a lot of people are sitting on money that they've saved up during lockdown, lucky things, and there are some big fancy bookings around. And I've been hearing stories of people just splurging really and booking the most incredible cruises for themselves and their families. And we've already heard about the wedding on Majestic, but have any of you got any examples of people really, with this pent-up demand for next year, people really going wild and booking something incredible? Rachel, I believe you've had some, haven't you?
We have, yes. So we have a wonderful set of voyages that circumnavigate Australia. And I think one of the lovely voyages that we have there is between Cairns and Sydney, and it happens over Christmas and New Year. But what we've actually found is that there's been a lot of demand for that, but there's a number of guests that we have that are doing a number of back-to-back journeys. So they are pretty much doing a full circumnavigation of Australia. I think we worked it out to be something like 72 days. So that's fantastic. And I think the other thing that we've seen as well is early 22, we have a set of voyages around the Indian Ocean. And what it enables people to do is to have a great experience of combining an ocean voyage with some land stay as well. So for an example, we have a wonderful voyage that travels between Mauritius and Tanzania. So we've got guests staying in a hotel in Mauritius, and then taking a voyage that takes them from Mauritius to Madagascar and then to Tanzania, and finishing off with a safari. So it just goes to show people now are looking at that bucket list and ticking lots of boxes. So we've got lots of exciting voyages to come as well. So it's going to be fantastic to see what people are going to want to do when they can travel again and the world opens up.
Yeah, I think there is going to be a lot of pent-up demand, especially with smaller ships. I mean, Mike, I know your ships are notoriously hard to get on. They're always full, aren't they? Are you laying on anything extra for this summer? And have you got any new plans for next year?
So this year we are we're nearly full. Obviously, that's a great place to be. However, we have plans to maybe expand. And for next year, we're going up to Orkney, and one of our ships will be up there for 8 weeks. We'll be doing round the Orkneys there. And as I say, we're looking to expand the Majestic line for the very reason that we see the potential for West Coast cruising to be large in the future. And it's great that we have guests that come back year on year, and more are doing it. And I think it's a fantastic thing, and it's great. It's a lovely place to cruise around.
And your ships are good for a private charter as well, aren't they? Because they're so small, so you could get some friends together or take an extended family group and take a whole ship.
Right. Yeah. So we at the minute, do a lot of whole boat charters, families, predominantly, and we've seen an uptake in that for this year and next year. As you say, I think there's been a pent up, over the last year, people have just decided that they want to spend more time with their family when they're allowed to, and obviously this year and next year is going to be that way inclined, I think. So we've seen a big uptake in the whole boat charters. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we've got some questions coming in here. So I'm looking at questions that maybe all of you can answer. I mean, this is a question that a lot of people are asking about vaccination. And so a lot of big ships are setting sail around Britain this summer. In fact, the first one sets sail next week. And there are different rules about whether you're expected to have had both your vaccinations, or whether they'll just take a PCR test before you board, or whether you'll have vaccinations and a test. So do any of you have any protocols yet about vaccinations, or is it still too early for some of you to say? Who wants to go first?
I don't mind. We've made the decision, as it stands at the moment, for our UK voyages, we're not requiring guests to be vaccinated. But once we leave the UK shores, then we will be asking for vaccinations. Now, if we are able to, we will just do a lateral flow test for guests getting onto the ship. But if we're told that it has to be a PCR test, then that's what we'll do. But we wanted to try and make it as easy as possible for guests to come and experience our ship whilst we're around the UK. So that is our position at the moment. Obviously, if things change, then we'll review our guidance on that.
Off. Thank you. What about you, Mike? Are you asking for vaccinations, or are you just doing tests, or none of the above?
So we're actually we've gone down the road of doing a health questionnaire for people before they come, and that is sent back to us. We'll also be doing lateral flow testing on the crew every 2 days. We will then be doing temperature checks as well. However, the vaccinations, we will be asking people if they've had vaccinations. We won't be making it mandatory. As things progress, we will be looking for people to open up rather than being PCR. We're going down the lateral flow test route at the minute, but we will be doing temperature checks and health checks on people as well. Yeah.
Oh, well, sounds very thorough. So, right, we've got another question here, which would probably apply to all of you. And this is, again, as a cruise writer, I get asked this all the time. Why are there not more opportunities for solo cruising, despite many more people traveling solo? Would cruise companies rather their ships sail with empty cabins than sell them to solo travelers? So anyone got anything to say about that? I mean, it is always I think more ships are now introducing more solo cabins. I still think, though, that if you're a single traveller, you tend to have to shop around to see who's got an offer on when. So do any of you have any special deals for solos?
Yes, for Australis, in some departures, and sometimes we make promotions for solo travelers. The thing that one person traveling alone is taking a full cabin, and that's main problem. But we try sometimes to make the depending of yield management and promotion to make special rates for solo travelers, because every day there are more and more people interested in traveling alone, and in our kinds of ships who are not very, very big. I mean, it's not a problem to travel alone because you meet a lot of people, and you don't feel alone on board. But technically, the problem is that we don't have smaller cabins, and all the cabins they have the same size. Then you take a cabin for 2 persons, but you have a special rate.
But you'd probably still have to wait for a late deal, wouldn't you, or just wait for a specific promotion, which I think is the case with a lot of lines.
Yes,
Yeah. Well,
you have to wait for special. We do sometimes make special deals with some travel agencies and also special promotions from Australis himself.
what kind of people do you tend to attract? When I sailed with you, it was a very multinational crowd,
It's
and it's quite
it's
young as well.
it's quite young. Yeah, it's true. 50% of the clients are from Europe. Let's say in a normal year, and 30% from the States, and the rest are from Australia, South America. We don't have so many people from Asia because the trip is it's a bit long for them. But it's very multicultural, and usually we have 20 to 25 different nationalities on board. That's true.
Yeah, it's nice. I like a mix like that. It's good to have a multicultural crowd. So Rachel, what about you? What's the deal with Tradewind and single travellers? Do you have any solo cabins?
We do. We actually have 6 dedicated solo cabins. Not surprisingly, they are the ones that go first. But we will also look at, exactly as just been said, we'll always look at our yield and see how things are going. And if we can do some more deals on singles, then we absolutely will do. So it is sometimes waiting to see. We are new to this industry as a business. So we are waiting to see sort of what happens and what the trends are. But yes, certainly we'll always look at opportunities to be selling for solo travellers, because cruising is perfect for solos, because there's a great opportunity to meet other people and with shore excursions and things going on the ship. So yes, it is something that we will continue to look at and review.
Oh, well, so the message to solo travellers is just keep on top of it. Get yourself a good travel agent who can keep an eye out for you. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to look at some of the other questions here. Are the smaller ships going to be allowed to sail sooner than the regular cruise lines, as has happened in Alaska? Well, I mean, I think looking at our panel here, we can answer that one, that small ships are getting ready to sail, aren't they?
Yeah.
All over the world. So, I mean, certainly in the US as well, only smaller ships which are American flagged with American crew can sail. But I mean, big ships are gearing up too. So we're going to see a lot of ships sailing around Britain this summer. And also Greece is looking chock full of big cruise ships for anyone who's looking for something a bit bigger. Someone wants to know about, this is a complicated one. Michaela, you might be able to answer this because it's about the traffic light system. How will passengers be managed in line with the traffic light system when, for example, you fly from the UK to France en route to Iceland to join a ship going to Greenland? I mean, I'm not sure yet how this is going to work. So if Iceland is a green country, but you go somewhere else and then you go back to Iceland, how will that work? Would you then count as not having gone to
That
Greenland?
depends. I think it depends on the regulations and travel restrictions among single states, right? At the moment, we've seen direct flights from the UK to Iceland, and then we embark in Iceland and take the customers into Greenland. When again Greenland would be open, we think early in July. So yeah, I see the issue. I see the question. We have actually a group of French customers. They're flying from Paris to Denmark and from Denmark to Greenland directly. And again, Greenland is at the moment still requiring quarantine. And also so is Denmark. And these guys need to stay one day in Copenhagen. And in theory, the way it is shows that they cannot travel at the moment. But we think that the governments, will open more and more corridors over the summer. So if I think it's developing very quickly as well. So yeah, we're positive. And
yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Everything is changing so fast at the moment. I mean, we're going to get another update.
I think. Sorry to cut you off, but I think our customers, they're all understanding the situation, and they're ready to be reactive in a way, and they're all willing to travel, and they're following regulations. And it's going to be a last-minute season as well, we forecast.
I think you're right. I think there's going to be I mean, in 3 weeks' time, when we get another review, I mean, certainly for the UK market, if somewhere else opens up, there's going to be a mad rush, isn't there, to book for it? I mean,
Yeah.
particularly, I suppose Svalbard will be very popular because people are looking for big, wide, open spaces, aren't they? And communing with nature after being shut in their houses for a year.
Yeah, we have plenty of people on standby. They just say, hey, I'm vaccinated, I'm ready to go. When can I go? And we say, hey, hold on a second. Let's see, as soon as the border will open, vaccinated people most likely will be having a green light to get into Svalbard. And yeah, starting in August, hopefully. If not, we're gonna, the clients are already thinking that if not 2021, they will travel in 2022. That's why 22, the very limited capacity at the moment. But yeah, we need to wait and see and be patient.
So is the message then that if let's say you've forgotten about 21, let's say you're writing it off, but you decided to do your big trip in 2022, is the message that you should book that sooner rather than later because everything's getting full already?
Exactly. Imagine that if the season 21 is not going through, we're gonna compress 3 seasons into 22. So the availability is really limited at the moment. So whoever wants to travel in the future, I really recommend to start thinking about booking now. We already have the calendar 23 live on our website because 22 is really, really, really filling up very quickly.
Oh, that's so alarming that you have to plan that far ahead. I can't plan beyond next week. So what about you, Rachel? Are you booking a long way ahead as well? Because you've got all your itineraries are unique, aren't they?
They are, absolutely. So we have our itineraries on sale at the moment until April 22. Our plan is to launch for the rest of 22 and 23 on the 1st of June. And yeah, we will be suggesting people do book as soon as they know what they want to do, because I think there's a number of things that come into play, and we know our ships are small and they're going to be popular. So I think in order for people to get the cabin they want on the voyage that they want, they will need to book as soon as possible. So yes, is my advice, and to work with work with a travel agent to help you pull these things together. I think that's also really important as well, because they will also know about the rules, the regulations, and what's the best way to do this. So so that would be my recommendation. Yes, is book early and book through a travel agent.
Thanks. Yes, I think that's good advice. So someone is asking here, and this is a question to all of you: does the panel acknowledge that there'll still be a degree of nervousness about cruise travel? How long will it take to return to pre-pandemic levels? By the sounds of what you're all saying, there's not much nervousness because people are in a rush to book. But yes, I think realistically there probably is. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? No.
I think there'll be nervousness for some guests, but we've had a lot of phone calls from guests that have some trepidation on coming onto the boats. However, with all the protocols and systems that we've put in place, we are making it as safe as possible. From the Majestic Line's point of view, we carry only 12 guests maximum, so we're seeing people really looking forward to their trips, but at the same time there is a nervousness. So once they're on board, we go through all the protocols and things with them anyway, and hopefully that will put their minds at rest, and they see the COVID situation is progressing in such a way within the UK that a lot of vaccinations have been given, etc. So hopefully that will take some of the nervousness out of the guests that we will see this year.
Yeah, and I think as time goes by, it will become, especially once all these cruise ships start sailing around Britain this summer, I think a UK audience will just get more used to the fact that cruising is operating again. And some of the cruise lines, or one cruise line in particular, MSC, has already been operating in Italy almost throughout the pandemic, really, and they've carried 65,000 passengers with no major outbreaks or problems on board. So I think once we've seen a lot more cruises going, people People will think, yes, I can do this. This can happen. So one thing I wonder about, and I think for three of you, it's probably not relevant. I'm wondering about what it's going to be like when you go ashore. But certainly for Australis, you're mainly on hikes, aren't you? And in Svalbard, you'll be again on zodiacs and whizzing around, and you won't be mixing with other people. But Rachel, on Tradewind, when you go on a tour, especially on these early cruises around the UK, do you have to go ashore in a bubble, or can you go ashore on your own?
At the moment, it's something that we're monitoring, Sue, as to exactly how this is going to work. At the moment, all shore excursions will be you can only book on board. We're not doing any pre-booking for shore excursions, just so we can monitor that situation as we're sailing. But certainly, we'll be looking at small groups coming on and off the ship. So we'll continue to monitor this and put in the relevant protocols as more advice is given. We'll be able to take all of that on board and make sure that everybody is as safe as we can make them.
Because I think it would be a bit weird, given that we're enjoying a fair amount of freedom in the UK here now. So when I go on your ship and we call into, say, Falmouth, I could go to Falmouth and just wander around anyway if I wanted to, but it would be a bit weird to have to get off the ship and then to stay in a group from the ship. But I guess we'll just have to see.
Absolutely. I mean, everything is, as we've already said, everything is so changeable, and the advice can change, almost sort of week to week at the moment. So we're paying very close attention to what's happening. But you're quite right. Whilst you can travel around the UK at the moment, or you said you will be able to travel around the UK and staying in different hotels, there's not going to be too much difference to coming on and off the ship. So yeah, we as I say, we'll continue to monitor that, and we want to be able people to have as much freedom as they can, but still staying safe. So that will be our key message is to stay safe.
And when you're on an expedition cruise, for example, in Patagonia with Australis, I mean, you don't really have much contact with other people ashore, do you? You go ashore on your hiking group, and that's it.
You go ashore on your hiking groups in groups depending the languages. It's small groups. And in fact, you meet only the person of the lighthouse in Cape Horn, which is living there during 1 year, and he's happy to see people. But I think that for all the cruise company, we will be more prepared than in March 2020, when the pandemic, which was very, very new for all of us. And I think that now is the time we're more prepared in terms of protocols, in terms of social distancing, vaccinations, and everything. Then it's why one not so much nervous about the future of cruises.
What do you all find? I mean, you're all talking to your customers all the time. What do you find that people are most looking forward to? Do they tell you what's exciting them at the moment?
Yes, yeah. In our case, the real challenge will be to arrive to Patagonia, because of the flights, because of the borders, and then what we see that we do have a lot of persons interesting want to turn back with trips on nature. We were closed during so much time with lockdown and everything, and everybody wants to discover virgin places, natural places, to be in touch with the nature and feeling an experience. That's the point. That a trip will be a very add value, and in terms of experience, that you get back and say, wow, I did have a nice experience with this kind of nature trip, and we're seeing a lot of interest from the people to sail again and to travel to Patagonia.
I just can't wait to be on a ship. I don't even care where it goes. I just want to be on a ship, which is just as well. I don't mind, because quite a lot of ships are just sailing around Britain and going nowhere. But it'll still be nice to be back at sea. So, Michele, what about you? I mean, people are excited to the idea of seeing polar bears or hiking or just getting out there, seeing a different scenery. What are your passengers telling you?
Yeah, no, the passengers are really can't wait to join an expedition. The nature itself of the expedition, I mean, you are social distancing by definition. We have these small groups of 12 passengers. We have 2 zodiacs, so when we land 2 groups of 6. And once we are ashore, there is nothing where we're going. We're going in remote Arctic destination. So people are really willing to go back traveling. We've seen a surge also in the kind of so we do longer trip compared to the industry. 15 days expeditions, and we've seen a lot of traction on that as well. So people, they understand that they want to go on an expedition for longer. In a way, I think that the aftermath of COVID, being locked at home for the whole year, they really need to go in nature for the longest extended periods.
Yeah, I can imagine. Revive the soul. So, and I suppose with Majestic Line in Scotland, it's almost like familiar, but it's different because it's so wild and beautiful there. And I guess people are wanting again to see this gorgeous scenery and the wildlife and potter
Yeah,
around on those lovely little ships.
I think one of the things that sort of sets us apart from some of the bigger cruise lines, etc., are that we make the itinerary up as we go. So if the weather isn't playing ball, shall we say, one day, then we will change where we're going to go. And I think a lot of the guests like that. They want to go predominantly to the smaller islands, etc., and we try our best to do that. However, if the weather doesn't cooperate, then we can change our itinerary to suit. So we're not limited to a set routine, and I think a lot of our guests enjoy that.
Yeah, I can imagine. I really want to go to St Kilda. I mean, some of your cruises go there, don't they? That to me sounds like the wildest bit of Britain you could get to.
They do. So we've got one of our newer ships, the Glen Shield. She goes out to St Kilda on a 10-day trip. That's our longest trip, and we take in St Kilda and Stornoway, etc. And that leaves from Oban as well.
Fabulous, amazing. And so, Rachel, I suppose people who are embarking on Tradewind, are they going to be people who have their own sailing boats, for example, or who are obsessed with sailing ships, or are they there for the romance or the swashbuckling adventure? I suppose one question they might ask is, have I got to sail the ship?
And the answer to that is yes, they can sail the ship if they wish. We've got a whole load of different types of guests that are going to be joining us, and all of them are just so excited. I think exactly as you've said, they can't wait to step foot on board a ship again. And I don't think there's ever been a ship quite like ours, certainly in the British waters. So I think there's the real excitement of what we're going to be able to bring, which is something quite different to any of the other cruise ships, because she is a sailing ship. She was built to sail. So I think the excitement is to be able to come aboard, to see the most magnificent sails, and it is about the romance of being at the sea, out at sea. All of our journeys actually have been choreographed to follow the wind, follow the sun, follow the currents. So our aim is to really sail as much as we can, rather than using the engine power. And we very much want our guests to be part of that experience and really get immersed in life on board. So they'll be absolutely able to get involved in sailing the ship with the sails coming up and down. We'll have experts on board talking to them about, how it all works, astral navigation, all these sorts of wonderful things. So there's a real buzz and excitement amongst us as part of the team at Tradewind Voyages, but certainly amongst our guests who are really excited to be part of this new adventure. So yes, it's all looking good.
That's going to become one of the most photographed ships of the year, isn't it? Especially when all the sails are up.
We hope
it's going
so.
to be incredible. Are you going to let people climb up the mast to the crow's nest for the money shot down on the decks?
I think health and safety are out on that one at the moment, Sue. So watch this space.
Oh no! And we have a question here.
Quite possibly.
Are you going to sail to the South Pacific? I've got a question here from Pip, who wants to go to French Polynesia and the Cook Islands. Is that one of your
We will
routes?
be. We
There you go,
will
Pip.
be, yes, we will, Pip. So yes, look out for our itineraries that are going to be launched on the 1st of June. We've got about, I think, 3 or 4 voyages that are going to be around that part of the world. So really, really exciting. Watch this space for that.
Oh, I think if we're having this conversation in a year's time, it's going to be so different, isn't it? Let's hope. We'll all be talking about 2023 and everything that's new, and we won't be thinking about social distancing anymore. So where are you all? Is everyone off on a ship soon, as soon as you can? Who's planning to get on board? Mike, I suppose you'll be on one of yours, won't you?
I would like to say yes, but no.
Oh, no.
So we, because we are unfortunately nearly fully booked, I will be going. I'll be doing a one-night training exercise with the boats, but that's it. So I'll be stuck behind my desk most of the time,
luck.
unfortunately. Yes, I know.
Gosh. Oh, and Michele, do you get on board a lot? Do you escort some of the trips?
Well,
or are you...
unfortunately, I need to be behind the desk as well as Mike. So I would love to be on an expedition. Hopefully, I can get to Greenland in the summer if I have a little bit of time. But for the moment being, it's a lot of admin work, which is not bad. I mean,
Well, I know where I'd rather be. So, I mean, I think all of these products from our panelists here are absolutely stunning. They're all gorgeous. If you want to connect with nature, if you want to, well, the sailing experience will be amazing. So, I think I would encourage everyone. I know people are nervous. I know people are concerned about vaccines and social distancing, but I'm personally very confident that cruising is going to be a success. Let's hope I'm not eating my words one day, but I really am confident that we're going to see a fantastic comeback this summer. And there's going to be many, many happy holidays had at sea. And I wish you all the best, really, for your forthcoming seasons and for next year and beyond. So I think that's pretty much all we've got time for now. So happy sailing, everybody who's watching. I'm sorry if we didn't get to your questions, but I think we've answered a fair few of them. So I wish you well, and thank you very much to all our wonderful panelists.